Hi, and welcome to the TargetedWest Conference Work Group. I am DJ Chris. I'm here in beautiful Lodi, California, and it is the 30th of October 2022. We're going to talk about various subjects today, and just a reminder that we are not violent or domestic terrorists or terrorizing anyone. We are a group of people that look and study the Fourth Industrial Revolution, or C4ISR. So we just want to learn and command and control and how that works in this program, because we don't believe it's a mental situation. We believe we're being targeted. So that's why we're here. And I get the telepathy that I can't figure out. So I'm trying to figure it out myself. So what is it? I don't know. That's why I'm here. Maybe you'll figure it out. Someone will. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about geofencing and geo-warrants. Geofencing is where you could have a crime or a protest and collect the cell phone location data or the Wi-Fi hunting capability of your phone or GPS and see you in a specific area or a zone, a fence. It's a geofence. And if they see you in a certain area during a crime or in the event of a crime, or if you're protesting or somewhere where they feel you shouldn't, which is very broad, and it is a Fourth Amendment violation, by the way, then what they do is they get a whole bunch of data, and then they hone it in and they say, I want a warrant for this person, and then Google has to supply it to them. And I told you earlier in the program how easy it is to get a warrant. It's 3 clicks. Cloud Gavel is one company that allows judges and people of power to approve warrants remotely using their cell phone or computer. There's no walking into court with a judge's outfit on and the court clerk's coming in and typing that paper or printing it and signing it. It's all done within a moment. So that's probably why you're seeing, if I got this right, 1,500% increase in geo warrants just to Google alone, 500% in just recent times now. And yes, they do look for people that protest. So this is, I know you say, well, what does this have to do with targeted individuals? Well, it has a lot to do with targeted individuals, because if you go to get together in a group, they're going to get geo-fencing in that area and scoop you all up and then see what's on your cell phone and what to do with it, with a warrant. And don't think Google's the only suspect. I double-checked. Apple has to do it too. So it doesn't matter if you have an Apple phone or a Google, Android, either one. You could de-Google your cell phone that has Google and Android, but I don't know about Apple. That's pretty tough to do, and they are now incorporating the SIM into the cell phone where you cannot remove it, from the latest news from the Apple Insider website. So that's terrible. You have to buy a new cell phone when you know, how does that work? Is it programmable? I mean, so you could go either with Apple or with Google, and they're both, and other organizations at the police or intel agencies or whomever needs that information about. So that's what that is. And one of the companies involved in this is called Fog Reveal, and they're a data broker. They also sell information about where people were from open source intelligence, OSINT, open source stuff and databases and such that other companies, including cell phone companies, sell. And they give that to the police department. They go through it too, or the intel agencies or what have you. So that's one company that does it. I talked to you about another one before, and this is another one in addition to that. And on top of it, they will take someone innocent and make them guilty, like a guy on a bicycle that rides around in Florida. And Google got a warning from the police that this person riding this bicycle around in the same area over and over has one of those Fitbit things. And so they wanted the data. And in 7 days, if he didn't get a lawyer and tell Google not to send it to the sheriff, he would have been sent to the sheriff. So he spent several $1,000s just to block Google from sending that data to the police department, who was just blindly going around looking for anyone. And so he spent thousands of dollars on it. So, but he had money. But there's another guy, I think it was Jesse Molina. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they accused him of the same thing, and got his cell phone data and put him in jail for 6 days. And he didn't have any money for a lawyer. Okay. So that's how they're doing this now. They're too lazy to solve crimes, so they're using data and data brokers and warrants. Like I said, the easy cloud gavel warrants, click, 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 and the judge can go back to his dinner party at the country club and not be bothered by such silly things. Next on the topics is ERAD. ERAD is a way to extract money from credit cards, debit cards, or store cards. And they do it on the side of the road to people who they think have drugs or drug money in their accounts. So not only are they doing civil forfeiture on cash, but they have actual devices. And one company, you'll be shocked, is right out in the open about it. It's called monetary recovery. They have to recover that money, and they say it's stolen money, it's bad, it's not, it doesn't belong to them. That's not true. They're taking it from anyone. Matter of fact, the civil forfeiture scheme that most cities and states do and federal government usually yield about $600 from each person. It's not like when they had the RICO Act and you went after a drug dealer. This is what it was designed for, but civil forfeiture is used for cities and governments who need money because they're broke and they need to supplement their payroll and operating costs by taking people's money, cars, credit card, or not credit cards, but debit and all that stuff, and extracting money, because the money is what's illegal or criminal or suspect, not you. You have to prove the money or property is not used in an illegal way, and you might get it back. Matter of fact, they took millions of dollars of jewelry, Rolexes, gold, antique jewelry from family heirloom collections, cash, deeds, all sorts of stuff at the FBI in Beverly Hills, never gave it back. You have to really prove that you own that stuff to get it back. And then they use drug-sniffing dogs to smell the cash, and damn well the most cash has drugs on it. So they say, well, the cash has drugs on it, but no. The drugs were on it before the person put it in the safety deposit box, which is a private deposit box company. And they weren't supposed to take this customer stuff, but they did. They always intended to do that. They always intended to take everybody's property, and they lied on the warrant to get it, and that's your FBI. It's a big case right now because they took a lot of money from a lot of people. I think $80 million. And they're going through your personal property deeds and life insurance and looking for criminality in a bunch of safety deposit box. That's your FBI for you today. And I'm not anti-FBI. I just don't like when you do things like that. But that's civil forfeiture, and that's what they do with ERAD. And here's the name of the company right here, website. Go check it out. erad-group.com. That's erad-group.com. And I'll probably put the note and put the website there. So we covered fog renewal. Next subject is neural rights. There's a neural rights website that I found today that I put on my TI Club 3 Twitter page. Check it out. That's cool. That's something that there's a group of people working on apparently, and I've never seen their faces before, so that's interesting. I think that's what the organization Marcus sent letters to, but didn't hear anything back. But I'm not sure, so that's cool. The TI book club will meet at 6:30, and we'll schluff my book first, the Targeted Trilogy book. Something everybody needs as a stocking stuffer this year. Self-plug there. That's how I pay for the fees for my overhead for my website and stuff. And it's been working out pretty well, and I really appreciate all the support you've given me with my books. So we'll be talking about that. China's becoming the AI expert in military, and that's concerning to our military. So I'm sure we're spending a lot more money like we did with the Russian Soviet communists, and now we're going to be doing that with the Chinese, like we did with the Vietnamese, like we did with the Koreans, like we did with the Germans, like we go on and on and on and on. So now we're going to have to be the AI expert, and that means part of this voice in my head is AI-based or automated. It's not human most of the time. It's automated, and it's mostly the same phrases and sayings that I keep getting over and over and over for 20 years. So could China be involved with our targeting? I do know of Chinese people on my Twitter page in China that are being targeted. So the answer is yes, they're being targeted in their country, but are they doing this to us? And are we doing it to them? Is there a secret war going on, World War III, in the form of neural weapons and directed energy weapons? Is that what's going on behind the scenes? We'll never know. We don't have that level of clearance. Next, Huggy Bear brought up the SkyBorg Air Force, and I wasn't sure if that was already out, but they're planning on doing that in 2023. It's going to be AI-based atomic drones and planes and fighter jets that work via a computer, and the SkyBorg is what it is. It's a Borg up in the sky, and you could swarm somebody with a bunch of jet fighters that are autonomous, except for controlled by the main computer. And they go and do their strike, and they leave and come back. And it involves all sorts of different air machines or air theater. And that's using the General Dynamics atomic drone. I read a book, Camelio, in our TI book club. That's hashtag TI book club. You can go there and get information on our book club. And that has the book Camelio, and they had a guy that was followed across country by one drone. And I think that was a General Dynamics atomic drone. Yes, it's atomic. It can go forever. And it's connected to the cloud or through satellites, through some sort of communication. Satellite phones work. Why couldn't data work? Right? Doesn't have to be perfect resolution or sound or audio, but it's much more than that. It's about sensors, and we've been reading about sensors in Annie Jacobson's book about the brains of DARPA and how they were using sensors in Vietnam. So again, yes, General Aviation Dynamics is using an atomic drone with the SkyBorg Air Force, and that's coming out next year. So there's a Google lawsuit that someone compared them to the great one Eye of Sauron, and that's, again, like I said, time to de-Google your Google-based phone if you can. I'm not quite certain how to do that, but I think you could probably look it up. And go on to another subject. It's 1:15. Did you take a break for a moment? Ow, my finger hit. I have COVID hands. The next is the importance of sunlight. I haven't got any sunlight in the last couple of days, but I haven't felt it yet. But when I go out and get sunlight, I feel great. I had a friend who claimed she was the high priestess of something in Santa Monica, and she would go sit out in the sun on the roof of the garage every day at her apartment complex. And she swore by it. And then I do my grounding. But the sunlight is important, according to a study by the National Institute of Health, which I posted on my TI Club 3 Twitter page. Oh, we got a great crowd already. I see a lot of people here. Hey, a good crowd. My name is DJ Chris. This is TargetedWest.com conference call. I have a little book here. I I don't put things on the computer, and I write down during the week or the week before topics that you send me via email or what I glean from sites and from Twitter and in my email, and that helps me get these topics. So this is not my own doing. This is a collaborative effect. And if you want to send me something that I could use on this conference show, send it to djchris@targetedwest.com, and I will take a look at it. So now the next subject before we go to open mic is the 4 industrial revolutions. I always say this, and I tout this call as a call about the 4th industrial revolution, but I've never simply explained how that whole revolution began. And the first one, of course, first revolution was steam in the 1800s, and then in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the second one was electric. The third was in the 60s, computers. And now the 4th industrial revolution is brain technology, cars that drive themselves, autonomous, everything, access to the cloud for the world, one world government, one group, the World Economic Forum, talking about what we're going to do and love living with nothing and love it and all this crap. But are we going to buy that? No, I don't think so. But that's the 4th industrial revolution, and it's also in the case with C4 ISR. There's C2, C3, C4, C5, and C6 ISR, and ISR is intelligence, reconnaissance, and surveillance. And C is command and control, and the 4th is computers and the new technologies they use, which is part of the 4th industrial revolution in military. Okay. So anyway, in a couple of minutes we'll talk about my book, and which is right there somewhere. And then we'll have the mic open for people to talk. This is DJ Chris again. You're listening to our call here. I see Hannah's in the chat. I see Liz is in the call. I see a lot of people up in here. What a great crowd. We'll go ahead and switch to open mic and let you ask questions or come up with anything you got. So if you want to talk, hit *6. It's open mic now. I'll weave in 3 or 4 more subjects while you talk. And that's it. Then it's just open mic. I'll stop recording at 7 p.m. and then you can talk freely if you prefer that till 8 p.m. and then I shut down and upload this on different platforms. You're probably watching this through YouTube or BitChute. Some people thought, why BitChute? Well, it's because I got erased off of YouTube, and I don't want to do a lot of work and put it there. So what I did instead, I put all my work, my main site, BitChute, and then YouTube's my backup, and then archive.org is my other backup, and you can download these videos if you want to keep on or put it in your hard drive or send it somewhere or edit it. So we're going to switch over to Open Mic. And it's Open Mic Lite now. Open Mic Lite, Open Mic. Anybody have anything to discuss, questions for DJ Chris, or anything? Come on in and talk. It's Open Mic, Targeted West, Sunday night call.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. It's Laura, and
Laura!
Hi, how are you? Happy Sunday.
I slept. I'm good.
Are you? That's good. That's good. I'll just dive right in. I appreciate you writing this. As a Mormon kid, wasn't smart enough to do the CB thing or the CB radio. That was just my little 11-year-old self just kind of screamed out to you and said, "Wow, how awesome you are that you were able to do that and to talk to others." I always wanted to talk to other kids and I wasn't able to, and so that's really cool. Anyway, and you talked about the helicopters already relieving your addiction. What I wanted to ask you about was when you said this technology, it was something about a server, and I will find it. I had it marked, and now I can't find it. But you said, it just made me really understand how, for years, I've wondered, how are they getting in my head? How are they, the dreams? You really explained that and laid that down for me, and I recognized a lot of stuff that I wouldn't even have thought of. But then you say, quick tech talk. I speculate that the hardware for this is advanced quantum machines able to render custom videos in seconds. So that sentence right there explains to me a lot of my stuff, I'll just say stuff because it's Kafka-esque. Things that
which is in our TI book club, 2 Kafka books. Yeah, matter of fact, when I do a revise of that dream book, I'll have an update about my suspicion that it's called SimNet, which was developed in the military to simulate war situations and to train people on pilots, flying planes and running tractors. And I think it's SimNet on the MilNet, which is this branch of the internet they split off in '83.
Okay. So yeah, I'm not a computer. I can't process as fast as. That's just a whole nother subject that you just brought
That'll
up.
be in the new book, the update. Yeah, a whole nother subject. It's speculation, of course.
All right, moving on. So your brain data has been mostly captured to make these brain movies and new ones made on the fly using very powerful new quantum machines. I would have never, I'm not a techie, I'm not anybody. And so for you to explain this to me, I appreciate this. I read these other books and I'm kind of going, okay, and actually I didn't have to throw your book across the room, not once. This one I'm reading, Transformation. While I love Kathy O'Brien, they do point out a lot of organizations that they think it is, or I'm not going to even say that, organizations that they know and they proved it was, but then I find myself flying the book across the room saying, oh, I knew it, and just mad. I just appreciate your raw, genuine way that you wrote this. Sometimes you even wrap up your worst torture in maybe a paragraph, and I'm sorry about what they did to your body. I've experienced the same thing. I've experienced, they broke my jaw once, and some horrible stuff trying to work with the medical community, trying to, get out of pain. It's really unreal. And so I love how you say, through and through this book, I'm still here. They tried to break me this way. I'm still here. They tried to break me this way. I'm still here. I really appreciate that, too. So I'll get to it. I won't take up all this call, but...
this call is for what you're doing right now is to talk about my book, so keep going.
So,
remember the book club had this listed, so you're doing it right.
Yeah, and my heart breaks for you with the rental property. I had the same experience. My dad also sold our family home, or my grandparents, anyway, a home that my family had owned since the 1800s. He sold it to the handyman as well. I'm very sorry.
Whoa.
Yeah. What I am going to ask you next is, can I use this as your quote? Now I have a lot of quotes from TIs that I write down in my Book of Centuries. I also write down things. I met a TI that called it a YPOD. It was your personal options directory is what he called it. But for me, it's just a great big thick book that I put good information, good websites, good emails, stuff like that. I would like to enter one of your quotes in that. And this, I don't know if you want it to be this, but this soulless machine from hell cannot replace our souls and natural life energy.
Absolutely. You can quote Chris, DJ Chris on that. Absolutely. Be my guest, please.
Right on. And I will move on to your, I don't know if this is your second or third, but the conversations with the terrorists in my head. I found this really interesting because I don't have conversations with terrorists in my head, but I do have some stuff that I would say it was visual stuff that I could only imagine they were terrorists or somebody very awful entering stuff in my head. So the 1974 brain can be hacked. I read that way back when and has no firewall. It uses frequency waves that can be captured. Didn't know that. But this guy that gave you your career and education and advice to be a tech worker.
Telstar.
I'm just curious, was he by chance I want to say, what are these guys, 2 months a year and 2 weekends,
Jason?
What is that? No.
Jason's an elite group of people that work for ARPA. No, he worked for Telstar, helping put the satellite up in the 70s. And his handle on TB was Telstar.
I was more National Guard. Was he a National Guardman? No?
I don't think so, no. He's an older man with kids and a wife and in an old Volkswagen that smelled. And his license plate was FCK, and he used to make a joke. FCK off.
Just curious. Okay. No, I was just curious about that. Let me see. The first course of business, yes. This was all very helpful to me. I appreciate it. I'm not going to go over, but the feeling of false emotions and the comments making you tired. I've talked to other TIs and this just all made sense to me. Some of it I didn't understand when people told me their stories. I don't have the voice of Skull, but it just made a lot more sense reading your book, the stories that I've heard. So that was helpful,
Thank you.
because I just, I struggle with that sometimes to understand, but I have my own horrors. And I'm kind of losing my train of thought, and I'm going to let other people talk. Maybe I have another question or two for you.
Okay. Thank you, Laura, for that. I appreciate it. That's Laura in Colorado. Does anybody have any questions for Laura? We're kind of having our first TI book club meeting about my book, which is called the Targeted Trilogy book. It's available in hard copy and on Amazon and Kindle, and she read it, and she's a supporter of mine, and I really appreciate it. I wrote those books so that people can relate to what I go through, so they can connect dots, and so they can be empowered to write their own book. And on my website, I explain all my resources I use to make the book cover and how to write it and where to publish it and how to spread it to different bookstores online and in person. It's open mic. Anyone want to talk? Any questions? Okay,
I will then.
Oh, go ahead.
I got one more.
Go ahead, it's you again. You're back. You're back because no one said anything. Go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, nobody said anything, so I said, okay, I'll do this one more. The blowback from the new post-11 remote torture was strong and fierce. I was fighting back with humans through technology and was breaking them. They were quitting after I would turn the tables on them and gave them exactly what they gave me, misery.
Yeah, they claim I killed 18 of them by telling them to stab their necks. That's literally what I told them. Go to your kitchen and stab your neck with a knife. And they claimed I killed 18 of them, and that's why they had to go to AI, which is totally not true. I don't believe that in a day. They're just trying to make me think I'm a psychopath murderer. But I do wish bad upon them, but not that. I want them to go to prison for what they do. And I want the AI to be taken down, the machines taken down. There's a lot of them involved in military intelligence and private sector and military contractors. Go ahead, Laura.
And lastly, well, I do love this as well. They have 2 decades, and I am not broken. Also, the main reason is to find out if you're a patriot to your home country. They have been looking for communists for decades using drugs and torture, and yet found none. That shook me, gotta say.
It's true.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate your take on that. Humans are more resilient than they figured. The brain bounces back.
It always does.
With it, yeah, so it can heal. I appreciate that. I've had probably the hardest physical time lately, and so you end it with your dad selling to the damn handyman.
We didn't sell it to him. He gave it to. He gave him. He didn't charge him a penny.
Jeez, I just could puke about that. But holographs of people is not my thing. I would rather listen to her older works and movies. And he's talking about one of the best singers, and I can't remember the moment.
Whitney Houston, yeah.
Yeah, Whitney Houston, thank you. And I do appreciate that too, because you really got to listen to their original stuff. My dad made a comment about Karen Carpenter being the best vocalist of all time the other day. I thought it was so funny. But he said, yeah, you have to really listen to the old stuff. I'm glad you don't
I do
fuss
that
about
often.
Yeah, I'm glad you don't fuss about this non-important civil rhetoric. I get wrapped up in that too. But I think that this was your calling. I mean, you've been doing this since you were 15 in what was it, a Crown Victoria? What was it, a Crown something that you hooked up? I mean, you kind of reaching out to people and doing this since you were young. This is kind of your calling. It would be tragic if you didn't. So.
Well, I'm lucky to have been funded by the tech community, and when I got sick, so they're able to allow me to buy cars like that with my income. So.
Yeah, for me it was I was a little bit. I'll do me later, but hurrah! Thank you. Appreciate it.
I wrote the books to help people, and it warms my heart and really moves me to know that you got read through and got to the message. And the message is hope. Always have hope. Do not ever give up, no matter what it is, because it always seems worse than it is. And the next day, you'll put it, except when you're targeted, the next day is just as bad, but you get used to, no, not everybody does. I get used to it because it's repetitive.
Yeah, but I just do like your style. I just do. I mean, some of the things you did, I couldn't have done myself, but I like your style. Damn.
Well, I've decided to I'm writing a new series of books, and the first one is about ownership of an RV. All the details, since I talked about having an RV, I'm going to write a whole book about being a TI and having an RV.
I'd appreciate that. Because, you know, when I had an RV, it was the nicest home I ever had, and I know that's awful because I'm like Ford. But had a new engine, had the tires, and put rubber stuff on the top of the roof. And I don't know, for some reason, it was that rubber stuff that you get from an industrial yard that they put actually on roads. I want to say it's like 6 inches of rubber, and it comes in, you know, big sheets. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we use lap sealant in a tube for the roof. You got to do the roof on the RVs every year, or they leak because the sun breaks, cracks it open, and the movement if you drive around, whether it's a motorhome or travel trailer.
Able to do this stuff, all a hole in it for my, you know, my air conditioner, and it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice as far as.
You're cutting out a little bit.
Okay, but it was pretty nice as far as shielding, and that's all.
There you are. Yeah, the RV helps with the shielding because I have an aluminum ribbing in mine.
Yeah, you can do your own kind of little, you know, whatever shielding you want to use, and you can move if you're having a real hard time. So.
This is the book you're talking about right here. I happen to have a copy too. And if you have a chance this Christmas, help good old Chris here out and get yourself a copy. You can get the digital form of this for a lot less, or you can buy individual 1, 2, or 3 of each part of the book for 99 cents or $1.29. And a couple of sites have it for free if you really hunt it down. So go at it. It's the Targeted Trilogy book by TargetedWest. DJ Chris is the author, and you can do this too. You can write your own book. And we have a TI book club now with over 13 people, which is unheard of for that quick of over 2 days. We got that many people who are TIs. and one of them is actually an insider that works for a government agency. So, and they give me tips. And that book club is at www.ti, or not TI book clubs, bookclubs.com/TI book club/join/ and you can join the TI book club too. And that's what this meeting was about. Is our first weekly book club was my book, and next week I'm going to send a message out to to remind people they can submit books to talk on the call with their choices. So you can join the club and you're not stuck by what I pick, because I left all the features open for anyone. You have full admin feature practically, and you could add anything you want to the book club. You don't have to be stuck. And if you don't like the book club, you can go in and add your own book club at bookclubs.com. It used to be book clubs with a Z, and in January they switched it to book clubs with an S. Okay? "20 minutes to 7, it's open mic. We talked about the Torch Song Trilogy. That was a Freudian. How to create the book from A to Z. That's on my website. Go to TargetedWest.com in the info blog, and there's the Cold War Next Door book has the section there that tells you every single detail on how to put your own book out. And mostly it's DocX, Microsoft DocX is what I use. And I write my book out, and I upload it to the whomever website it is, and they change it to EPUB mode from DocX, and then you add your book cover, and you do that from Canva, and you use lulu.com, which will push it to global distribution, and you go from there. Next is a Forbes article about the Brookings Institute. My own V2K telepathy, the terrorists in my head suggested this. They said, check out the Brookings Institute, and I did some research, and apparently they're just a jukebox. You pay for play with them. They've been around for a long time, and they are probably giving advice for different war scenarios, like the RAND Corporation is heavily involved in war in the book with Annie Jacobson, the Brains of DARPA, I'm reading right now. Iran's been involved for a long time, and they're in Santa Monica. Matter of fact, everything's in California from the starting of a lot of this technology. Absolutely amazing. Lawrence Livermore Lab's been involved, and of course they were involved with the Manhattan Project. And then they say the geoengineering is a new Manhattan Project. And I believe that this telepathy thing and the dreams are doing to me and you and everyone else are part of their future and how they plan on controlling the masses. That means you have full political and social control of everyone. And I know they already control us through media, and everybody's got a cell phone in their hand, looking at it all day. You know, try to get outside and ground, get away. If it's cold outside, go somewhere and get away from technology and try to ground, even if you have to buy some type of grounding device, which I'm trying to come up with because it's cold outside already. And get away from the technology. It'll make you feel better, trust me. Last but not least, before I put this paper away, we are having a Christmas party on December 25th, 2022 here at Targeted West on this channel, which is Targeted West ID on freeconferencecall.com. It's a party from 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time till 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'll open up, then it's all open mic, and we just talk about gratefulness and, you know, what you feel you've accomplished for the year and how you feel. And, you know, it's not easy stuff, not anything serious, no technology talk, unless you want to. It's just about being grateful. And that'll be, of course, open mic, like Christmas gratefulness talk and holiday topics. So that'll be here on this channel on the Sunday on Christmas, the 25th of 2022, and go to TI Club 3, and I've got the invitation there. Everybody's invited. end of, that's all done. I'll put next week's show on for you next. Open mic. Anyone want to talk? You have anything to discuss? Any topics? Does anyone have any announcements? Does anybody need to share? Open mic, new or old? Come on in. That's okay. On the 11/6 show, we will be talking about NASA. Oh, this is right up caller 00 Orlando's theme. NASA.gov, science.nasa.gov/UAP. We'll be talking about NASA UFO UAP program. Used to be UFO, now it's UAP. And an article from inverse.com, the conversation that someone had with Google Sentient AI, MDA Lambda, LA small, MDA big. And we'll be talking about C2, C4 ISR, C5 ISR, C6 ISR, and all that. I won't give you all the details, so you'll have to come in next week for that, and that'll be 11/6. I don't have any topics for the open mic part, so if you have any topics or anything you'd like to add for next week's show, email me as soon as you can at djchris@targetedwest.com. Open mic. That looks like a sad kitty set. All my cats are pretty satisfied. I'll have cookies when I go to bed. Yeah. I've been having duplex cookies. Last night I had duplex cookies. That's my chair making that noise. Not. See, I lost my thing. I can't get it, but it's my cup to my drink. Probably have to drink it now so it doesn't spill. Here, fix that problem. Last thing I need is to have hands that don't work from COVID or COVID shots, making my water knock over into the computer, and that would not end well. And that would make me a very grumpy cat. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, caller 00. We will pray for her. Caller 00's ex-girlfriend is in the hospital with cancer. If you can, make a prayer for her. We'd appreciate it. We have just 10 more minutes until we take the recording off, and then we'll be open mic. Anybody want to talk? Don't be shy. That's okay. So we'll see what's going on. So I got the little, there's my video. I got the book club going, which I've been working on, thinking about since 2016 and working on for 7 months, and Amazon never came through. I kept clicking on their button for make your own book club, and it never worked. Just gave me the same message. So I started hunting around one day, and I said, there's got to be something else. And that's when I found that bookclubs.com. So if you want to start your own book club, check that site out. Trustpilot gives it a 4.99. I've been using it for a while. Not a lot of ads, so it's pretty nice. It supports bookstores that are independent with their bookstore.org or bookshop.org. So you're supporting. It's just a division of the bookstore and bookshop.org. So they support independent and small book clubs and small bookstores in the area where you live, the brick and mortar ones, and they support authors too. So we'll see what happens with them, but they seem to be pretty good. And that's our book club again. If you missed it, is bookclubs.com/TIBookClub/join/ It is now 9 minutes. Anybody want to talk? Get your recording before the recording ends. Are you excited that Elon Musk owns Twitter now? I mean, Elon Musk makes Neuralink, which wants to put copper wires in your head and put chip behind your head to make you connected to the internet. Do you think he'll be good for Twitter or not? Do you want to talk about that since it's open mic? Well, I'm reading the chat now. The chat room's always popping here, so if you are too shy to go in the mic, come in under your name on the computer or go on your phone and hit *67 before so you block your phone number. And come in the chat or whatever. If you got the app for a free conference call, you can access the chat room. And you can watch the chat room going. And right now they're talking about Elon Musk that I just spoke about. Yeah. So he now owns Twitter. I am quite sure that Elon Musk knows about the targeting. There's no way he doesn't, because I see everybody in the targeted community sending him messages on Twitter. I think he's enhanced or I think he already has the technology himself, and I think he's enlightened too, which means he's got the connections with the hidden hand. So, I know he does. He knows about it. Of course he does. Everybody at that level in this world knows about it. It's not like it was hidden. I mean, it was part of the plan, is to dominate your enemy by hacking their brain, and that's what this is about. Is hacking your enemy, getting vital information, intellectual property, war commands, locations, and they can monitor you over time to see if you ever do something illegal. So it's behavioral and political control.
Okay, I have some background noise, but I'll highlight some other stuff that I liked in here. How you said Prince, a famous singer, musician, told us they would spray the skies with chemicals in the ghetto.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's time for others to share their stories. I so agree with that. And this part about the useless eaters will get the slow kill waves. I pray that that's not what I'm getting.
Henry Kissinger wrote that a long time ago about useless eaters in other countries.
Yeah, I've been reading. She has her mother's laugh. It's by the same person that wrote Parasite Rex. It's a little bit much for me to comprehend, but anyway, back to yours, I think it's interesting where some of us TIs have actually found this forest bathing by accident and found it extremely helpful. And I didn't realize that it was called something. It was called forest bathing. So we've just found, I think it's kind of funny how we find ways to survive just kind of by accident. Whatever feels good, we go for. And we're, in the forest and sit on a log or, sit somewhere and just keep going back. That's amazing that you found it in the San Carla Mountains, did you say, or Santa Cruz Mountains?
Santa Cruz Mountains at Mount Madonna State Park, or County Park, up in Highway 152, up at the top of the hill near Watsonville.
Yeah, I believe that was because it was faced a certain way, or because there were certain, where we were at. I think that might have faced a certain way, and it might have been still this.
It was because I was behind the satellite. I think I was behind the satellites, and then the forest bathing component about it. Forest bathing is done in Japan. They go barefoot and walk around the forest and meditate, like I do.
So it was a geographical thing, you being up in the mountains where
Yes.
All right. Well, I found that really interesting as well.
That was a nice park too, but they didn't have sewer service, so you had to go to the dump tank, and the guy that worked there was a little too curious about me. Kept telling me that, there's other places to park besides the disabled spot. And I'm like, I'm going to punch you. It's like, some people are invisibly disabled. So, I told him that. I said, go away. Other than that, it was a nice park and very reasonably priced.
Shoo. Tell him, just shoo.
I said, shoo, mister. Get out of here. I ain't got time for you.
Go away from me. Oh, my, I feel your struggle. But like I said, I like your style. I'm seriously considering the motorhome thing again.
Do you know I have pictures from that park?
I'll have to send you a picture I have of, I got it. I think you're going to enjoy it. Some guy in Silicon Valley drew it. His dad drew it. He grew up in Silicon Valley. I got it on Craigslist one day. But he called it agricultural to technicultural. Can't remember how he said it. Agriculture to techniculture, something. Anyway, it goes from one side of the painting to the other side. I'll send it to you. You'll probably understand it when you see it.
Yeah, I'd be really interested in that, please.
It's different.
Well, we have 2 more minutes. Laura, did you want to wrap up the call? I really appreciate you going over the first TI Book Club meeting about my book, because I have to, push my book too, because it's, something everybody, as Laura said, needs to read. And I appreciate that. Did you want to wrap it up?
Well, I appreciate it so much. The only problem I had is a couple of the pages fell out, but I bet that's your publisher that you want to talk to. When I got it, a couple of the pages did fall out. A couple of the others did too.
Yeah, it's in New Hampshire. It's whatever Amazon pimps it out to some place in New Hampshire. So they're probably pumping them out left and right. Yeah, sorry about that. Try some of that rubber glue and glue them back in.
That's all good.
And those 2 blank pages, two blank pages are for notes, by the way. I forgot to put the word notes.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the 4th page that said, to all targeted individuals suffer daily.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is correct. And thank you for watching this video. If you're on BitChute or YouTube or archive.org, or if you're going through Twitter or what have you, I appreciate it. Or if you search for me through all the search engines, which I'm on now, I appreciate it. So let me go ahead and say goodbye and thank you for watching my video. This is DJ Chris at TargetedWest.com conference call in beautiful Lodi, California. Goodbye.